what does success look like to me? What am I driving towards? And those things are very personal. It's amazing what you can accomplish when there's trust in the room. And when you remove that trust, it's remarkable how inefficient you can become.
And when you've got guys around you who are buying into your vision and pushing towards the same thing, it's energizing. All right, welcome back to the Forge Contractor Alliance podcast. And I'm here with yet another good friend of mine, Joel Berg. So John was my partner. He was on the previous episode that you guys listened to. So has been my partner for the last 7 years, and we really dove into what we've gone through, a lot of my mistakes. John was very generous with giving me some compliments, and I appreciate him. And it's really an interesting perspective bringing you into the mix, because you and I have been, how long have we known each other, Joel?
It hasn't actually been that long, like 3 years we would have connected. And
on a small level, so through the Forge Contractor Alliance, we're already partners. Mm-hmm. And then even with Ridgeline and God Energy, who you work for, you're CEO of, we're even dabbling in the idea of a deeper partnership, both through potential joint venture or maybe even something greater. So I think it's going to be a really interesting contrast, getting a full rounded picture about partnerships. Because I'm not going to lie, to be honest, you and your character and the year I've known you, it's one of the things I'm actually really driving for, is on some level. I don't know what it looks like. I mean, that's obviously up to a lot of factors, you and your team, and obviously what God has planned for us. But it's one of the most exciting ideas I have in my life, is doing a deeper level of partnership in business with you. So, so let's talk about it. So I guess my main question out the gate is, because you've got business partners now, what are the things that you want to see from your partnerships first and foremost? What matters most?
Yeah, man, it's a really hard one to answer, because I feel like, and this is probably true of most people, is the further you progress into something, the deeper your understanding of that thing goes, and your thinking around it evolves. So I think the further I go in terms of partnerships with people in the business world and outside the business world, the more that comes clear. Like, I feel like when I started, like, my first kind of business partnership, I didn't really think about it at all. There was what I felt like a good opportunity, and there were some other people involved, and I just jumped in. I didn't really think about what the relationships were going to be and what I wanted out of those relationships. Or
like opportunity, you mean like it was just a career opportunity for you to get into something new and fun? Yeah,
like so my first business partnership was in this training organization, and two people that I knew, family friends, were running this business, and I had gotten involved as a trainer, and then they invited me into a piece of ownership, like joining the ownership team. And I loved what we were doing. I loved what the program, the material was. And so I just said yes. Mm-hmm. And I liked the people too, though I didn't know them very well. So it wasn't like I was strategic about, this is going to be a great partnership because each of us brings this and this and this to the table, and this is how the relationships are going to work. I had no picture of any of that. But now, like, I've gone through a whole series of partnerships in different businesses and different things, and each time I feel like I've got a greater level of clarity around what I'm looking for, what's important. And so I don't think it's something where it's like you get it perfect in any context. I think we're always growing. But right now, like, when I think about future partnership possibilities, I think way more about who the people are. And I don't remember if I shared this with you before, but did I ever show you this thing called the relational triangle?
I don't think so.
So I wish I had a picture of it here, but essentially the idea is like you can picture a triangle.
Yep.
And there's four levels
Within
this
the
triangle.
Yeah. Okay.
And so the bottom level is like acquaintance. You just like somebody, on a very surface level.
Okay.
Then it goes to friend, close friend. And at the top, we call it strategic partnership. It's the top little triangle of the pyramid.
Okay.
And the two lines that form the sides of the pyramid going up, one is you and the other is the other person. So like at the bottom, those two lines are far apart.
Yes.
And so in terms of values and agreement and thinking, you could be, in order to have a relationship with an acquaintance, you don't have to be close.
Yeah.
That synergy doesn't really have to be there. Like you might love hockey and I might hate hockey and we can still be acquaintances.
Yeah.
But as you move up the triangle, if you go from acquaintance to friend to close friend to strategic partner, those lines have to come together.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that principle, and they try to do strategic partnership with somebody that like they don't even understand who the other person is in terms of values and thinking and ethics and whatever. And then 2 years later, they wonder why stuff is blowing up because they never had those conversations.
Yeah.
And so I think now that I've got this understanding, I'm thinking about those things. If I've had other people ask me about partnering with them on different projects and different things. And there are certain people where, like, I think we intuitively know this stuff. Like, there's certain people that ask you to, hey, let's do this together. And right away, you're like, I don't think so. And you might not have this pyramid thing in your mind that you're going, oh yeah, this is what we're talking about. But you still know it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
But understanding this pyramid diagram has helped me think through, this is why I'm feeling like it's not going to work, because in terms of values, we're way apart. And so like you've talked about this a lot, that one of the things that you look for a lot in partnerships is people with a growth mindset. Yes.
Absolutely.
If somebody's like, they might be doing something really cool, but if they're not the kind of person that's interested in growing, it's not going to be a good fit.
Not just themselves, but the people around them, the organization as a whole, everybody in it.
So for me, I think I've got some of these key things that I'm looking for too. Like one of the core things is integrity. If I would never partner with somebody that's going to ask me to lie for them. Like if they're going to set up some business deal and they fumble, they drop the ball, and then they say, well, just tell our customer that such and such happened and that's why this, whatever. And like, no, I'm not going to lie for you.
Yeah.
And so like the integrity piece, that's a real like foundational baseline kind of thing. And a lot of the other pieces, I don't know that I've identified to like a super clear level, but I think also generosity, I don't know if that's the right word, but something that I look for is like
mindset.
Abundance. Maybe that's a better way to phrase it. Like if somebody's going to be stingy or pinch all the pennies and be constantly worried about money and those kinds of things, then right away I'm like, I don't want to live that way. Because
that's actually one of my biggest things in terms of business partnership is not even just people who have a scarce mindset, but people who either are, well, scarce definitely, but also people who are in this for the money. Yeah. Like it's all that they'll go for that dollar even if they have to step on somebody to get there. Like there's a love for money that is very repelling, that is dangerous in a partnership. And especially with me, because I just believe that there's enough for all of us, and let's just build something great that's impactful. I personally, and people have pointed this out to me, it's like, you need to be careful who get into business with, because if you get into some business with someone who's got a very money-driven mindset, they'll run you over. That's actually a good point.
Yeah. And I think like the guy who taught me about this relational triangle thing, he said basically that top level of the triangle is reserved for two categories. He said marriage and financial partnership. He's like, if you're partnering with somebody with your money, then he puts it in the same category as marriage. Like, you need to have a deep level of understanding and a deep level of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we could probably do a lot better in even processing these things in regards to marriage. Like, I think a lot of marriages fall apart because people didn't have these same kinds of conversations.
Yep. That's for sure.
But like you were saying, you got to be really careful. Like, I remember years ago, my father-in-law telling me about at work, he had a guy ask him to lie for him. I can't remember what the situation was, but good friend. And this guy said, hey, this thing's going on, and when this comes up, this is what I need you to say.
Mm-hmm.
And my father-in-law said, I can't do that. And the guy goes, What? What do you mean? I thought we were friends. I thought I could count on you. And I'll never forget my father-in-law's response. He said, that's precisely why I can't. He said, if I could lie for you, then I could lie to you.
Ooh,
and
what a response.
And I need you to know that I would never lie to you.
Mm.
And so I won't lie for you. And I thought, dude, that is so good.
That's money, man.
And so
that's good.
And I think it's true. And so that, like, having some of those character test pieces is really important. And the other thing that I think of, and it's kind of vague, it's more of just a feel thing, but I think every person carries an atmosphere around them. Like, when they enter a room or when they enter a conversation, there's a certain feeling they carry with them.
Almost like an energy.
Yeah, like how they shift conversation, how they shift the emotional atmosphere of a place. I think there's something about that I can't help but pay attention to. Like, I think there's people that are really gifted in business. Like, they know how to make money and they're smart and they've got good experience and all these things. But when I'm around them, I just feel this, like, it makes me anxious.
Yeah.
Or I just feel this negativity or something like that. And you know what? It doesn't matter what they bring to the table. They could be awesome at what they do and they could promise all kinds of things. Like, if you partner with me, we'll be able to do this and this and this, and these new doors are going to open and it's going to be so big. It's going to be so awesome.
Yeah.
But I ask myself, like, do I want to live under that cloud? I could have a lot more money, but I'm going to have that money living under that cloud.
Yeah.
I think of Eeyore with the cloud that he carries around and it's constantly raining on him. I'm like, I might have more money, but I don't want to live in the rain all the time.
Yeah.
And
it takes away your freedom, always having that anxious presence around. Yeah. I can totally understand that.
And I think in the opposite way, there's certain people that really carry this atmosphere of hopefulness and joy and those kinds of things. And I'm like, because we tend to think all about money when we go to business partnerships. You go, if somebody said, oh, I'm forming a business partnership with so-and-so, you go, oh, like, what do you think that's going to do for your business? And usually what people mean by that is like, how much more money do you think you'll make because of that? And it's like, well, that's a piece, but there's also the piece of them being a part of what I'm doing actually is just going to make me enjoy what I'm doing way more. And so for me, I think all of those things factor into it. And part of the reason that I'm attracted to any kind of partnership with you is because the atmosphere that you carry is one of generosity. It's big picture, like hopeful, expansive, abundant thinking. I always think bigger when I'm around you.
Yeah.
I always am like,
well, you do for me too. Because some of the biggest dreaming I've done, I used to dream big when I was young, and I kind of got caught in the weeds a lot over the last 5 years. And it's actually like when you and I start connecting like a year ago, I found myself dreaming again.
Yeah.
And it's just like, like when we sit down, we have a conversation, we dream.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
And so I think like that's a piece.
Yeah.
And it's not the whole picture, but like for us, we've talked about no matter where things go with our companies, we want more connection with each other because that's the kind of synergy that we get.
Yeah.
It's like if we sit down for an hour and have a cup of coffee, at the end of it, we're both pumped.
Yeah.
We both want to do bigger and greater and more cool things. And so partnership can be on different levels too. Like there's like we can partner in seeing each other successful,
Yes.
even if financially, legally, we don't have any structured partnership.
Yeah. Even if we're not involved, like that's actually me and Kenton.
Mm-hmm.
Kenton was like, hired me. I was his employee. I went and started my own company when he got out of the roofing industry, and I've failed and screwed up and brought him in, and I've had the most meaningful coffees with him when it's just like we sit at a table, I tell him what's going on, the good, bad, the ugly, and sometimes I go into that meeting just feeling like trash, and I would leave, and both of us are just like, yes, I feel like I can conquer the world. And that's why, despite him and I, in no way, our roofing companies have never shared ownership.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually technically my competitor, but I want nothing more than to see him win. It's important to me that he wins.
Yeah.
Because that's just, we're partners, but we're not legal partners by any means.
Relationally, you're in partnership.
We're just in each other's corner. We want to see each other win.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's, I love that. And I think we need more of that in the business world. Like we're trained to think anybody outside of what benefits you directly as like your bottom line. Actually, like a lot of people don't come out and say it this directly, but it's like, you should probably just try and undermine them a little bit. Like just a little bit, and make sure that your spot's secure, that you stay on top and whatever. And anyways, I love the idea of us being genuinely interested in each other winning.
mm-hmm.
And so then I think where it goes though is this is you and me talking about you and me.
Yeah.
But you have an ownership team. I have an ownership team.
Yes.
And so that suddenly we've got a whole bunch more people in the mix, and it's not as simple as, man, I love working with Josh and I think bigger when I'm around him.
Yeah.
There's all these other pieces, and sorting through that gets complicated.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're trying to do it in a proper manner, in a everybody win mindset. Because honestly, and I've actually had people recommend this to me. They're like, have you offered to just poach Joel? Just bring him on your team and just go? And in so many ways, that would be so easy. But it's just like, never considered.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, if it's not a win for everybody, because you and I, if we wanted to just forget our partners, we could just be like, hey, let's take this energy and do something, and everyone else can just figure it out. But the trick to it is just doing it in a way that it's a win for everybody.
Yeah. And that may not always be possible. There are circumstances where like there's an unpleasable person or whatever. Yeah. But in general, I think having that motivation where it's like, I'm not looking to steal from anybody. I'm not looking to undermine anybody. I'm looking to be generous.
Yes.
And if that's the posture, then there may be situations where somebody isn't willing to receive your generosity or whatever the thing may be. But I think for us, being the kind of people that are postured that way is what's critical.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's really hard to figure out even. Like what does that look like in this context? Like we've been talking about the possibility of deeper level of partnership, not between us as people, but between our two companies. And then because there's so many layers to what you do and what I do, and then especially when you get into the future of like, where's it all going? What would it look like if we did it together? What would it look like if we did it separately? What if we looked like we did some of it together and some of it separately? Like,
Yeah.
you can get into this maze of future possibilities that it's like, what's generosity look like? I'm not really sure. Because it's a bit of a guessing game about like what happens with the markets and what happens with our teams and how much do we grow. But I think the critical piece that I keep circling back to is this posture of generosity. Because when you get into starting to quantify the benefits of partnership or not partnering or whatever, then typically we go into counting things like, okay, well, like how would that change our annual revenue and our EBITDA margin, and we've got these like formulas that we start calculating all of the things so we can present it to the rest of our team. But typically all that stuff goes back to just dollars.
Yes.
Which is only a piece. And then especially when you've got owners who maybe aren't actively part of the day-to-day operations of a company, then how they measure things is different. And so that's where we hope and pray that the rest of our ownership team is also postured towards generosity and not going, let's just look at the numbers and let's make a decision based on the numbers.
Yeah.
Because again, that's only a piece.
And
And so it becomes a trust thing.
Yeah, it gets more complicated when you have many personalities, and the bigger your ownership team is, the more. I was actually talking about that exact same thing, because I even have one of my 4 partners is a very small stakeholder, but he's pretty silent, and I'm like, I don't know if he would like this. But then I kind of had this thought. It's just like, you know what? It's my job as the CEO, as a visionary. If this makes sense, I need to sell it to those. I need to actually get my butt out of the chair. And if they reject me or reject my idea, fine. But it's actually my job to get out there and show the vision. And if they, you know what, if I've put my heart out there and all the opportunity out there and they still don't see it, yeah, that would suck. But then we know.
Yeah.
Because if they don't see it, then it was never meant to be. It was never a partnership that should have happened in the first place. So,
yeah, it's hard. I think for me, a trap that I often fall into in processing these things, and not just partnership, but in making bigger, like higher level decisions about the future and the trajectory of the company. What if I get it wrong? And thinking about, like what if I sign up for this partnership and 2 years from now we realize that's really capped our potential, and we could have grown a lot more if we hadn't done this, but now we've committed to it and we can't back out now and whatever. Or on the flip side, man, I rejected that partnership and I chose to try and do it all on my own and keep stuff to myself, and now I'm realizing that really handicapped me. If I'd had access to the larger team, we could have done so much more and grown way faster, and I just didn't see it at the time. There's you can get caught in that, what do they call it, paralysis by analysis.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Yeah, so you're like,
that's actually pretty good.
Trying to analyze everything fully so that nothing is missed and everything is understood, and it's not possible.
Yeah.
There's too many factors when you get this many people involved, and the unknowns of where's the solar market going over the next 10 years. Man, there's so many different ideas. Where's the roofing market going over the next 10 years? There's lots of ideas.
Yeah.
And so in the end, I think a lot more comes down to the people.
Yes.
Than to these are the exact financial projections for this scenario versus this scenario. Because like maybe you've got really good information and you can predict the future to a higher level of clarity than I can. But seeing who's on the team, like in Good to Great, Jim Collins talks about who's on the bus.
Yeah.
And how that's so important. It's where the bus goes can change, but who's on the bus has such an impact on the success of that bus, regardless of where it goes.
Yep.
And so I think that's more of where I try to lean is like, what are the relationships? What are the synergies?
It's definitely way more about the collaboration. The aura you were talking about earlier, that is super. Like, again, even the aura you have, and for me in my role, what a benefit to get to dream again and get to think. And I should be. It's actually my job. I'm supposed to be the visionary of the company and the one. And when you have people around you, like, the business is the business. And it's funny because even with where our two companies now, if we were to do a merger, try and look at it 5 years from now, and we could crunch all the numbers and figure out everything to the dime right now. But there's a very good chance that we could be a 10x company and look back at our companies and all of that was really meaningless, because it's the people and the synergy and the vision that that got us there. Not that the two companies aren't super valuable in their own ways.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to nickel and dime things. And especially for people who are super financially driven, I think they would struggle to see that. But
yeah. And I think too, another great question to ask when thinking about partnership is, and this will sound a little self-centered out the gate, but like for me, a big question is like, what would this mean for me in terms of what my day-to-day looks like? What does this mean in terms of what I would be involved in?
Yeah.
What skills I would be utilizing? What things I would be expected to be responsible for? Because something we talk about a lot is seeing people become who God made them to be. Like accessing the fullness of their design, living that out to the fullest degree.
100%.
And so I think a lot of people, they see a partnership opportunity and they go, this could double our profit, could double our revenue.
Yep.
And so they say yes. And they get a year into it and they go, it's doubling our revenue, but it made my job suck.
Yeah.
I used to have this role, and now in this new partnership, my role changed to this. And I don't like my job anymore. And I said yes to it because of where it was going financially. Yeah. And I didn't see what it was going to mean for me personally.
Yeah.
And I think on the flip side, you might say yes to something that, okay, maybe doesn't even have a massive impact on your overall revenue or profit, but could double your enjoyment of your job.
Yeah.
And odds are, if that happens, it probably also doubles your revenue, because people who love their jobs produce amazing results.
Yes.
So I don't really think that scenario exists where people step into more of who they were made to be and your revenue doesn't increase. I don't really think that's a thing.
Yeah. Especially if you have more team and people supporting you and pushing you into that, then it's pretty hard to fail in that scenario.
But I think the other side is more of a pitfall, where it's like you could chase the dollars and end up in a job that you never would have signed up for. And those things are hard to see. And so that's why I think like having lots of conversation on the front end is really good, because I know with a lot of the situations in my life, I've felt like these decisions are a rush. Like, man, we got about 10 days to decide. And I just feel like, oh man, if I don't make a decision quickly, the ship's going to sail and I'm going to miss this opportunity and whatever. And that can be a trap. And I think having the conversation, actually saying like we're planning to like map it out and say like, what would this actually look like?
Yeah.
Like, we've got this idea of this kind of partnership. If we actually did it, like, what would your role look like?
Mm-hmm.
What would my role look like? What would that mean for our team? And how would we structure it?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to go in every level of detail, but at least having that overview of, like, conceptually, this is what we're talking about. So we're getting away from just the financial modeling and going to, like, in that personal level.
Mm-hmm.
This is how my job would change. And this is how my job would change. And this is who would make these decisions. And this is who would make these decisions. And you used to do this and you wouldn't do that anymore. Or you didn't used to do this and you're going to have to do that now.
You're going to have to take on this responsibility.
Like, those are important things.
Yeah.
And like, a lot of this is new territory for me. I haven't done a lot of this in the past. Most of the business partnerships that I got into, I was just like, yeah, I like these people and sounds like a cool project. Let's do it. And now because my life is so full, I'm thinking a lot more about, okay, is this an enhancement or not? Just making a little bit more money isn't enough to convince me, yes, we should do this. I need to know how it's going to impact me in a larger way.
Totally.
And so I'm thinking more carefully.
Into the things I love, into my giftings, and is this going to help me become the man that God made me to be?
Yeah.
Or is this going to be a distraction from that? Because I think that's a pretty important question. And not even just like you and I, but also our partners.
And the rest of our team.
And absolutely. Is this a win for everybody? Because we're responsible for everybody in our company, top to bottom. And we've made commitments to them. And is something like this going to honor those commitments?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a great opportunity? Is it going to create more opportunity for our young people to come up and thrive in? They're all good questions to have.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's lots more to process, and there's always going to be things like you step into a partnership and 2 years later, you're going to go, yeah, we never thought to talk about that. I guess this is a thing now.
That's like marriage. Those things always come up.
Which is why I keep circling back to the people side.
Yeah.
Is I think most of the regrets of a partnership end up being personal conflict things. Not like, oh, this didn't produce as much growth as we thought, is less likely to be the disappointment than, well, we had really different ideas, really different values, and now we're fighting about where the company's going and how we're going to do things.
Yeah.
Like that's the higher risk. And so I think choosing good people is safer than choosing good numbers.
Yeah.
If I was going to lean one way or the other, I would lean towards awesome people.
Oh, totally.
Than towards higher numbers.
Totally. Yeah.
And
also just, again, pushing each other into those freedoms. Like, is this gonna make me a better person? Yeah. Am I gonna look back? I look at myself. I don't know if you've read Benjamin Hardy's Be Your Future Self Now, but am I gonna look at myself, paint out both pathways, potentials of both, and be your future self 5 years from now and look at this decision and be like, is this making me a better person? Did this actually support me in my trajectory and growth in a good way, or is this going to be a hindrance?
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty important. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we, by default, typically think about the questions for ourselves, and rather than thinking about it from the flip side. And so I was told this years ago. I had a mentor who, I was trying to make a decision, and I asked this lady, like, how do I decide this or this? And she said, we talked about a whole bunch of things, but one of the tools that she suggested was a pros and cons list, which almost everybody does this, pros and cons lists. But she said, once you've made your pros and cons list, flip it and make a second list that it's pros of not going ahead with this thing.
Oh.
And cons of not going ahead. And it just adds a layer of perspective.
Oh, that's smart.
So it's like, take the exact same thing and think about it from the opposite angle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think same thing with processing potential partnership. Like, ask all the questions of, okay, what would this mean for my role? What would this mean for my family? What would this mean for my team? What would this mean for our financial bottom line? And then ask the questions, what would this mean for my potential partner? What would this mean for their team?
Mm-hmm.
What would this mean for their families? What would this mean for their bottom line? Like those same things, like intentionally force yourself to think about the other side, because it may feel like, yeah, it's a marginal improvement for us and it's a massive improvement for the other side. And if you see that whole picture, you might go, yeah, you know what? I want to do that.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a huge change for me, when I see the impact that it would have for these other families or these other people and their opportunities, suddenly it's like your heart goes,
totally.
Yeah, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah. Other partner, but even people on our team, if there's making moves or whatever, doesn't benefit you much, but it massively gives opportunity to even one person in your team.
Yeah.
It's like, that's abundance.
Because I'm trained, like, not that there's somebody out there that's specifically training me on this, but just culture and just the way we talk about stuff. Because I'm responsible as a CEO for our company, for our team, for our financial statements, for all of that, my default is to think about those things from our perspective. And so even like this, just being honest, when we have talked about partnership between our two companies on a deeper level, I have really not thought hardly at all about how this would impact your team. I've thought a lot about how it would impact our team, but very little about how it would impact your team, just being honest.
Oh, I think that's natural though. Because I've thought of, but even the ways I've thought of it through your team, it's more like, on a personal level, hardly at all. It's more like, hey, would this give them opportunity? Mm-hmm. But opportunity is only a small piece of like, is this actually good for everybody?
Yeah, and a lot of it you can't know. But I want to have that posture, like this generous posture of these people are also important, mm-hmm. and the potential of a partnership. Like, what is the full impact of that, and not just selective? Because you know what, if you do form a partnership, like if our two companies merged, I would suddenly have all of those people on my team. Yeah. Like even if I wasn't the CEO, if you were the CEO, we would both then have some level of responsibility for that team. And all of a sudden, John and Jacob and all these people from your team would suddenly be my team.
Yeah.
Would I just like suddenly start caring about them at that point? Like, I need to think about that in advance and go, okay, like.
Well, I think that's something that's going to be a part of the process, and we sit and map out, okay, what would this actually look like? Mm-hmm. And that's part of it, because it's not just like corporate structure. I think, well, at least this is what I had planned in my mind. I feel like we're going to sit and we're going to take job roles. Well, the nice thing about going through job roles is there's a person attached to each job role, and we should have a column in there being like, does this make sense for them too?
Yeah. What would it mean for them?
Yeah.
And those are great questions. And so I'm curious to flip it in a bit of a different way. Is, okay, what kinds of fears come up for you when you think about partnership, and what do you do with those things? Because this has been like, okay, how to think about it, and a lot of the positives of increased team and whatever, but like what about hesitancies and fears, that kind of side of things?
Actually, in this circumstance, let's be honest, I have very few. Very few. And actually, the people around me have way more hesitancy than I do, because they're like, for me, for everybody involved here, I think it'd have the most impact on me personally, because you've got an ownership group of 4 and you're all fairly equal. I know there's one partner who owns less, but you're all voting share. So everyone has a say. You've got a board of owners, whereas I have a group of 4 of us. I myself own over half of my company, and I'm the only one who has legal say. Yeah. So, and you know what? For me, it's like that would be a huge pivot, but I actually welcome the challenge, mainly because I super trust the people getting involved. The thing I think through the most is like going through both of our ownership teams, and very much like what we were saying, like I'm still at the ownership level. Like we were just talking, we got to bring it down and make sure our overall teams, something like this would make sense. But still the last week I've hesitancies with certain people on both sides, I would say. And it goes back to what we said earlier. It's just like, where do the values line up? I would have real concern for people who would just have a focus on just dollars. Yeah. That would bring, so there's things I think as we dig into this further that I would want to go through and be like, you know, are we doing this for the right reasons? Is everybody on board? Is everybody buying in to
the vision?
And I would say that's the thing that would make me backpedal from this right now, is if people are like, oh, dollars. And it's just like, well, now we're just focusing on right now. We're not looking at the genuine potential of what this could turn into.
Yeah.
And that would be my biggest hesitation. But again, going back to what I was saying, like I have very little of that, because I see all of your owners, they all have fantastic qualities as people and businessmen. But yeah, aside from that, I only really, I mean, it's risky. Like there's, and again, giving up because I have sole control of Ridgeline, my company, and I've built it for 10 years, and to just trust that out into going from one guy to potentially 8 is like, okay, like
that big shift.
That would be a big shift, but you know what? Like I'm a risk taker, and I find that excites me. And even the fact that I am such a big risk taker and I've made so many mistakes, maybe having a very wise ownership group of 8 would be good for me. Like if I'm being totally honest, but
yeah, it could be. I think the thing that hangs me up is this longing for certainty. And I don't mean like 100% certainty, but it just feels like with a lot of these decisions, there's so much unknown. There's always unknown. There's always uncertainty about the future. But right now I'm on a track, and you know that famous saying, better the devil you know than the devil you don't, like, which is a terrible saying in some ways, but there's this sense of security in the unknown if it's the unknown you've already chosen.
Yeah.
And so like there's all kinds of uncertainty for the future of our company.
Yeah.
It could tank. Like, what if the solar industry totally bites it over the next 2 years?
Well, then we got a great team to work through it with.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Then it would be really awesome to have the company be not just solar, but solar and roofing. Like, that'd be awesome. Then we really pivot into roofing and we run hard after that. No matter what I choose, there's uncertainty and there's risk. But there's this tendency in my own mind to feel like the risk that I've already embraced is less risky. And embracing a new trajectory feels more risky, even if it's not. There's actually, in a lot of ways, there's increased security in having a more diverse company.
Actually, there's huge security in that.
And so I love that. Like there's the synergies and there's also the diversity that feels like creates a real opportunity.
But there's also the unknown.
But there's so many questions of like a bunch of what feels like reservations right now. I actually could eliminate by just doing a good process. But that's definitely where I feel like there's hangups. And because it's my responsibility, like you said before, as a COO or CEO, to cast the vision and to pitch those things to our ownership team and say, like, this is where what I'm seeing, this is where I think we should go, and these are the reasons why. When I've got a bunch of these unknowns then I feel kind of unstable in trying to cast. Like, the clearer something is for me, the easier I can pitch it to somebody. Like, there's lots of stuff that, like, I am so confident in, I could sell it to anybody.
Yeah.
And there's other stuff where I'm like, man, I'd really like a higher degree of certainty before I try and sell this to people that could be seriously impacted by whether I get it right or wrong.
Yeah.
And even that, saying that, I think is part of the challenge that I need to face, is even this thinking of right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this decision would be 100% right and this decision would be 100% wrong. Actually, I don't think is quite right thinking.
No.
That actually one might be better than the other.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that if I chose one, that then everything's ruined, that it's all going to be bad.
Yeah.
I think it changes our trajectory. It changes the opportunities. But for me, like, because of my belief in God, I believe that he takes everything, even the mistakes that we make, and he has this brilliant ability to turn the stupidest decisions into the most beautiful things that create the coolest growth in people.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the really good growth opportunities in my life, things that I've learned, have come through actually stuff I shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
And so I gotta get over this fear of getting it wrong too.
Yeah.
And having this mentality of like, this would be 100% right and this would be 100% wrong, and I got to figure out which is which.
Yeah.
When there's so much good potential in both of them. And
do you feel, is that like a real pressure to perform for your partners that drives that?
For sure. Yeah. I think I don't think any of them are putting this on me intentionally, but I feel a huge weight of expectation. I don't know. That's the wrong way to put it.
Are they putting that on you, or are you putting that on you?
Huge weight of responsibility. And I think a lot of it is me putting it on myself.
Yeah. Which is, like, in all honesty, as CEO, it is your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You're responsible for everyone in your company and the overall health of it.
I got to remember that it's easy to criticize when you're not the one in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
And I can imagine, actually, if any of my business partners traded places with me, that they would be sitting in this situation going, oh man, like, what a weighty decision. I'm not sure. This is stressing me out. And so I got to remember that it's like the pressure, the weight of responsibility that I feel is not just a me thing. And I don't think any of my business partners are going, man, I sure hope this feels heavy for Joel. Like, no, not at all.
That would not be a good partner.
No. But I do feel it, that when I think about, okay, like, did I cut our company's future in half by making this decision or this decision?
Mm-hmm.
And like, if I found out 2 years from now that because I chose this thing, now we've missed out on all kinds of huge opportunities, like, man, that would feel pretty crummy.
Yeah.
But again, and this is why it goes back to people, like, our world is so full of amazing opportunities. I could blow the biggest opportunity right now.
Yeah.
And next year, I'm going to have crazy opportunities.
Yeah.
And so
100%.
I got to get over that too. Like, this thinking of, like,
I think we all do.
Well, if I miss this, then it's ruined.
We're all caught up with what's right in front of us right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have to make the right call with this. If I don't do this right, everything's ruined. It's just not true.
Right now, like, I'm going on vacation here right away, and I'm trying to get all this stuff done and make sure everything's covered for while I'm gone. And I've been tempted to even agree to jumping on a virtual call while I'm on holidays with my wife, because there's this big opportunity and I want to make sure I don't miss it and whatever. And it's, man, there's always going to be things like that. And if you let that stuff be the driver, you're going to like you've given up steering your own life.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Don't do it.
No, I already,
Don't do it.
I already decided.
This
I'm not
is
going
one of
to.
the reasons I love my partners, is because I was telling you, I think before we turned the mics on, we were talking about vacations, and it's like the most creative time I've had in my life was when I was on vacation, and I couldn't get my mind off work stuff. Not the whole time, but I kept getting all these inspirations. And it was the first time in my career that I went on a really nice vacation with my wife at an all-inclusive resort in Mexico. And my partners were like, dude, don't talk to us. We got this. Like, just go. And they actually, because we do, some of our systems are still working out. We're still on Facebook Messenger with our main group communications through the teams and everybody. And they went and made like
Groups
subgroups and kicked me out because they were like, go on vacation.
You are not allowed
this.
to. Yeah.
And those are the partners I have now. So it's just like, and man, it was
That's
so
really
good at a partnership level to have guys in my corner who are like that. They're like, man, like, we got this. And they wanted also, I think it goes both ways. They also wanted to feel the trust that like, I'm going to let go and trust for them to do a good job. But,
and I think like, this is not the topic that we are going to chase down, but in essence, this is about partnership on a team level.
Yes.
It's like, I've got people in our office that I'm partnering with. It's not just people external to the company that I create partnerships with. And the trust that I have and the willingness that I have to let go of things makes a huge difference. And actually, I think choosing to unplug, even if other people in the company don't want me to, if they're like, oh no, please be available while you're on vacation. Actually, if I choose not to, it positions them to grow.
absolutely.
Because if they've got to sort something out while I'm not there, and they've got to make the decisions without my input, it forces them to upgrade their thinking, even if they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? They won't just come back down from that upgrade. And so your team gains. And so I'm not going to join a virtual call from my vacation. I've already decided I'm going to delete my Gmail app off my phone.
Good for you.
Well, I'm gonna.
You're only gone for a week or something, right? It's not like you're gone for a month.
Yeah, it's like 9 or 10 days. But
okay. Still.
yeah, but it's I think like
It'll be like 5 business days though, because you're going over 2 weekends.
It'll be 7 business days.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That'll stretch them, because your team's pretty young, right? So
it's young, and we've got some really big, really cool stuff happening right now, and so there's definitely a tendency to lean on me.
But man, with how pulled every which way you've been, like, how good will it be for your company for you to step away, catch your breath, reset, get the creative energies flowing, and come back to work in a couple of weeks with like renewed energy.
I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a really good thing, and this is part of the reason that partnerships are amazing. Why we should look at partnering with other people. I think in the entrepreneurial world, there's different categories of people, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs have this mindset of, if I can do it by myself, it's better. And the further I get into business, the more I realize that's not true.
Yeah.
I think especially when you start as the sole owner of the company and you bring employees on and the company begins to grow, the idea of adding a second owner, partnering with somebody else and giving up some ownership stake feels like, oh man. But the gains are the potential is so huge in partnership. And I think especially like if you find amazing people, then you can get so much more.
Yeah.
If you're willing to let go of this idea of I need to be the guy that has whatever. And I think like we've talked about this lots. When you've got a team like yours that says go on vacation and don't talk to us, like, man, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm blessed.
I really think it's important. I think we got a lot more conversations ahead of us over the next little while, and we'll keep talking about this on the podcast because I think it's important not just to hear about the fact that we're thinking about this and whatever, but also where we land.
Oh yeah,
and why did we land there?
Yeah.
And then probably a few months later, are you happy that you landed there? Like now that you're looking back, do you wish you'd made a different decision? And what were some of the implications? Because that's real life. It's not just like theory. Hey, this would be a good podcast topic, partnership, whatever. It's like, yeah, sometimes it goes really good and sometimes it goes really wrong. And you got to learn from both.
Yeah.
And so our intention is not just to present the fun stuff in these conversations, but the real stuff.
Yeah.
Like these are the conversations that we had, and this is why we decided what we did. And then,
and this is
did
what
we
missed.
regret it or not?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, totally. Well, we'll keep everybody in tune as we move through this process, and I'm excited for it. It's going to be challenging.
Yeah.
But I welcome it. I think genuinely, we got the teams, and if nothing else, we'll learn from it and we'll grow.
Yeah.
So
we're going to gain no matter what.
Yeah. Even if nothing happens from it, it's going to be a great experience. I'm looking forward to doing it. So,
yeah.
Okay, Joel, it was a good chat, man.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, for all of you out there, thanks for joining us, and we will keep you guys all in the loop as this unfolds.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.